Sunday, July 10th, 2022, the 15th Sunday of Ordinary Time. The Good Samaritan is one of many subversive stories that Jesus told. Like the prodigal son, the great banquet, and Lazarus and the rich man, the heroes are those who have been rejected and discriminated. The title of this story, The Good Samaritan, is an oxymoron. An oxymoron is a phrase in which one word contradicts the other. For example, a circular square. Only one of those could be true. A shape could either be a circle or a square. You cannot have both. Good Samaritan is like an oxymoron for the Jewish mind. One can either be good, or one could be a Samaritan. Jewish thought would conclude that if one is good, he is not a Samaritan. The Jews hated the Samaritans from the time the Jewish people returned from the Assyrian deportation. While they were trying to rebuild Jerusalem, the Samaritans had disrupted the reconstruction. The Samaritans were the Jews who remained in Jerusalem and had intermarried with the Assyrians and other foreigners. The story was given as an answer to an apparently innocent question from a lawyer. What should I do to inherit eternal life? The question of the lawyer, however, is a loaded and legal one. It is not simply a question about how I can go to heaven, but to get the right of property in heaven. Inheritance is something that the father in the Jewish tradition gives to his son. It is the right of the son to inherit the father's property. To inherit eternal life, then, means to become an heir of heaven. The hidden question here is, how can I become the son of God with an inalienable right of inheritance of heaven? In the Beatitudes, Jesus mentions three categories of people who will have the right of inheritance to heaven: the poor, the peacemakers, and those who suffer injustice. There was another rich young man who approached Jesus with a similar question. What shall I do to inherit eternal life? Jesus told him to give away what he had. But the young man went away, clinging to his worldly possessions. Readiness to renounce was a prerequisite in that story to inherit eternal life. In this story, Jesus adds one more method: compassion to the needy. As the legal debate of clarifying terms proceeds, Jesus starts redefining who is a neighbor. We are used to the definition of neighbor as one who lives next door. Jesus redefines that concept. Neighborhood is not related to the physical proximity of living, but is an attitude of the mind of feeling close to the needy. In the story, one becomes a neighbor by taking care of anyone who is in need. One of the mistakes that we could make in reading the story of the Good Samaritan is to read it as a story of an exemplary individual helping a poor, hapless man on the road. In that case, the additional characters of the priest and the Levite would have been pointless. The community from which the man who helped came, Samaria, would have been irrelevant. The story is much more complex, much deeper. This is a story against prejudices and the ritualism of religion. The priest and the Levite would have become impure and unable to celebrate the rituals if the wounded man died in their hands. So, they ignored him. The observance of their religious rules prevented them from helping a person urgently in need. The Samaritan, who had no compulsion for ritual purity, stops and saves the man in distress. The story exposes how the ritualism of the Jewish religion had made it irrelevant and unproductive. It also highlights how a person who, in the Jewish perspective, is uncivilized, had compassion in his heart and saved the wounded man. What is scary today is the rules and regulations we make to exonerate our indifferences to the sufferings of others. If the suffering person is from my place, my ethnicity, my language, I become more sensitive. Otherwise, I am exonerated for insensitivity and apathy. Invisible prejudices prevent us from taking care of others in need. Prejudices created by religion, by race, and by social classifications interfere in our natural tendencies to help others. Natural human tendencies are love and compassion. Hatred and discrimination are learned behaviors. It is good to guard ourselves from getting contaminated with acquired hatred and apathy. As the story concludes, the Jewish religion has lost the inheritance of eternal life, while the Samaritans have gained it. Who will suffer the loss of inheritance in our times? Who will enjoy its reception forever?